June 2015, so I've been here, I suppose, almost 2.5 years now. I would characterize the relations between Britain and Laos as very friendly and continuing to expand at a very rapid rate. As you may know, we've had diplomatic relations for more than 60 years now, but that we didn't have embassies in each other's countries from the mid-1980s until we reopened in 2012. And I think since we reopened, obviously the relationship has really grown very strongly. And last year, I'm the second British ambassador since we re-established a mission in the country. And I would point to 3 or 4 areas where our relations have really broadened and deepened significantly in these last few years. So the first and most obvious one, I think, is in trade and investment. I'm delighted that when I arrived, I met His Excellency, then President Tan Chumali Sayason, and he told me that Britain was the 15th, at that time in 2015, the 15th largest investor in the UK, in Laos, Lao PDR. And he said, but that wasn't good enough. He wanted the UK to be in the top 10. So you can imagine my pleasure earlier this year when I had a meeting with the Vice Minister at Planning and Investment, and he told me that the UK was now the 10th largest investor in Lao PDR. So we are finally in the top 10, and obviously I hope we will continue to rise even further. But I think that change reflects the much bigger interaction in our commercial engagement. So in the time that I've been here, for example, we have set up a new British business group. It is a business lobby. It's a business lobby which is intended to represent all aspects of British business engagement with Laos. I'm very pleased that this new group already has almost 100 members. And it is a group that works very closely with our embassy. The executive director of the British Business Group actually sits in our mission to exchange views and information. So it's a sign of how closely how close the cooperation is. And the importance we place on strengthening our trade links with Laos. I think that in the time that I've been here, I've been impressed with the number of companies that have been entering our market or growing their market share here. So let me say, for example, in the time that I've been here, Prudential has gained its business license and has established its position as a market leader in the insurance sector. Jaguar Land Rover dealership here continues to grow its sales of obviously high quality, prestigious vehicles. The International Hotels Group, which is a UK listed hospitality group, has opened the Crown Plaza Hotel in the time that I've been here, and it is involved with the current project to open an intercontinental hotel by 2021. So that will give, I think, an important British company a strong profile in the tourism and hospitality sector here, which I think is very important for the future. And we have a number of smaller companies as well that are very active here. So that's one area I think we're very proud of. A second area is the political relationship itself with the government of Laos. We do now have embassies in each other's countries. We have very warm relations. We've had visits by our trade envoy, Prime Minister's trade envoy, the previous one, David Putnam. He came here 6 times. We're looking forward to our new trade envoy coming in February. That's coming in this direction. In the other direction, we've been delighted that the Minister for Education went to London last year to attend the Education World Forum. We're delighted that she's going to, Madame Sengduan will again go this year. And that will, I think, give real focus to our ever-growing educational links, and there are a few things to mention there. One is that as a result of the request from the Lao government, including from His Excellency Prime Minister Thongloun Sisoulith when he was the Foreign Minister, we have given some focus to supporting English language training in this country. We've had 3 British Council consultancies that we have worked in very close collaboration with the Ministry of Education and Sports, that's focusing on providing support to the school system and to the public service. And only last week we had the most senior visit we've had by a British Council representative to look at how the British Council might step up its support in this sector. So we're waiting to see how that will go. So the English language component has been extremely important, but equally so, we want to develop a very strong relationship at the higher education level, university to university sector. We're very proud that Aston University in Birmingham has got an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, with the National University of Laos. We want that to continue to develop. And more recently, we have been delighted that Nottingham University, which has a campus in Kuala Lumpur, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Panyatip School to run a foundation program in Laos. This will be the first time that any British university has established any kind of a degree program. This is foundation level, not the full degree yet, but this is a foundation program. It's the first time that any British university has established a teaching program in Laos. So we think this is a really significant development, and we hope very much that when Her Excellency the Minister goes to London in January, we can celebrate that very exciting development. So that's education. Another important area for us is governance, strengthening the institutional structures in Laos. Again, this reflects the interest we've had from the Lao government, and a particular focus, and this reflects my own background in previous assignments, is that we have put a particular emphasis on developing a capacity building program for the National Assembly, because we believe that parliaments always have a key role to play in strengthening development in any country, because obviously they have a role in legislation, which is crucial, but they also have a role in holding the executive, the government, to account for its actions. That's their job. And in both of these areas, the Lao National Assembly has been expanding its role very rapidly and becoming more and more confident, it seems to me, in handling these important functions. So one of the key initiatives that we have taken was to invite the Westminster Foundation, which is the leading British specialist agency that deals with Parliament, support to Parliament, to come and look at Laos and look at establishing a presence here. And was it last year or the year before they established their office? I lose track of time.
Last year.
It was last year. So in 2016, the Westminster Foundation established an office in the National Assembly, obviously with the support of the National Assembly, And this was the first time ever that the Westminster Foundation has established an office in a parliament which is a communist one-party system, because normally it's a multi-party system that they would... so this is a very significant change, and it reflects the fact that the Westminster Foundation were very impressed with the quality of the National Assembly, with its determination and enthusiasm to develop the capabilities as a parliament. So we are very happy to support that, and we've, other than Westminster Foundation, we've also supported some other projects to support capacity building in the Parliament, particularly on the research side. So I think that gives you a kind of an overview. Perhaps I should mention that all of this comes under the umbrella of what we call the Creative Partnership, because when I came here and I realized this was a very new embassy, I thought it very important that we developed a medium-term strategy for our engagement with Laos. And I also recognize that we are a small embassy with limited, as you can see, with very limited resources, including project funds. We don't have a big bilateral development program in the way that other countries here have. So what we've tried to do is maximize the benefit that we can have to Laos in certain areas, specific targeted areas. So it's the ones that I've outlined. So we call this approach the Creative Partnership. But before I finish, let me just say two things. We don't have a bilateral development program here in the sense in which Germany does, or EU does, or Australia does. But there are two areas where we do have plans for significant development activity. One is UXO, unexploded ordnance. You may be aware that our aid agency, the Department for International Development, has supported UXO clearance and survey work, particularly in Sichuan province, for a number of years. And we have provided around £13 million, which I think in today's exchange rates is about $16–17 million of support for that. I'm very pleased that DFID will be starting a new program of support. It's a program that covers many countries, but there is a specific allocation for Laos as well, and they will be contracting agencies to help with clearance work, and that will be a very significant new boost to our aid relations here. And the other area is our Department of Health has got a significant budget to support research on what we call antimicrobial resistance, which is basically, you know, when you take these drugs, antibiotics for disease, they're becoming less effective because they're used too much. Yeah, because people use them. You know, they take too many of them, and they give them to animals as well, and so antibiotics are becoming less effective. So diseases like malaria are becoming more difficult to treat. There's a research program that the UK will be supporting, and it does have an element in Laos. At the moment, we're still awaiting what the full details will be. But we're very excited that, again, there'll be some new development assistance coming in that area.